Maki has better abilities than Garou and doesn't hesitate to murder her enemies. She can one-shot him with her Soul Liberation Blade and would just kill him immediately. He has no counter.
Okay. Can you give
She also
me
has
the
advanced precognition, which
okay,
is
is that
just to say that Garou wouldn't be able to react to her, and she'd easily counter anything you could throw at her. That's all.
I feel like you should just say this one at a time.
Okay.
okay? First off, I want you to I want to ask how exactly Maki's precognition works. Because as far as I'm concerned, that is not an advanced form of precognition, rather an analytical prediction, which is a form of precognition, but not an advanced one. There is different layers of precognition.
I can send the scans for how it works.
Sure, please send them.
Scans 1.
Okay, something I want you to understand first is that you have to look at the context of the scan. I know this ability of Maki actually. Let me send you one scan I have here.
So what this says is that every move her enemy makes is telegraphed through the air, and she's able to easily avoid it, even if they're of a much higher speed than she is. Are you gonna say something?
Yeah, of course I want to say something. First, you're referring to the ability that was teached to her in this scan, right? Let me show
Yeah.
you. You're referring to that, right?
Yeah, I'm referring to the ability I sent.
Okay, exactly. Okay, so my point here is the next. That is, yes, a form of precognition, but not an advanced one. What she's doing that there is, as the scan tells, is basically she's analyzing each point, each characteristic of the environment, and then she's making a prediction. Yes, she's making predictions, and it's a form of precognition. However, it's not an advanced one. So Garou does have a similar ability, and even I will argue a more advanced one. Why? As you can see
Okay,
in
before
the
you
scan
hold
you
on a
sent,
second. Before you
let
keep
me.
going, can you turn up your mic?
What do you want to say?
I was asking if you could turn up your mic.
Can you say that out loud, please?
Can you turn up your mic?
No, I can't, sadly.
Okay. Go back to what you're saying.
So, as you can see in the scan, what Maki is doing is analyzing each aspect of the environment. As you can see in the scan I sent, what she's doing is basically that. Is she's seeing the environment. She's basically taking variants of the environment. She's combining them, and then she's making about all of that, combining all of that to make uh, the next movement. Because you forgot one scan about that. I actually have the complete three scans. That is a three-way sequence. And well, my point here is Garou does have something similar, and I will argue that even in a more advanced way. Do you want me to send scans?
Yes. Skull, what was that?
Probably he's just eating something. You know how he loves eating. He loves
No,
meat.
no, no. My mic was picking up the audio from my other set of headphones.
It sounds like you just ripped a massive fart.
Yeah, basically. So, well, basically here, Garou is basically able to predict the next movement of a fighter uh, just by seeing their stance. This is completely well. This has been shown across the series. Uh, so, unlike Maki's analytical prediction, which is basically the precognition that she has, Garous basically just need to see her in order to predict her. And however, something that you are not taking into account is one part of the scan where she says she's looking at the air. Garou has an ability to control the air. Basically, he will basically the analytical prediction that Maki is doing will be actually fail because of that one ability of Garou. If you want, I can send you the ability that Garou has of controlling the air.
One, prove that he has that ability, and two, this scan is against King, who is notorious for bluffing. Like, everyone knows that he can't fight, and Garo's just assuming he can, even though King in character would just stand still.
Yeah,
Garo's
well,
predictions are
yeah,
baseless.
no, that's completely untrue because also because Garou have shown to do this ability once in the combat against multiple B heroes and A heroes, and also during the fight with Saitama, he was able to predict Saitama's, and that actually the reason why against Saitama in Monster Core he was able to last so long, not because of the massive gap in stacks, but because of the massive gap in the skills he had. Again,
It's in the scan.
okay,
Also, the one for him to be able to control the air.
now first, the first scan is basically Tam Talk Master explaining how that there are actually martial art works. The second scans following by that are scans of Laron actually using set skills to predict and analyze movements. As we can see by the bullets and by the attacks, he can predict movements based on martial arts, which means that he actually has the ability to analyze. And now, to prove Maki's precognition. Okay, now again, you're misunderstanding. There are two types of precognition. And again, you're the one claiming that the Maki's precognition is an advantage, so the border is technically on you. But for starters, there are two types of precognition: divination, which is an ability to see actually in the future, or have an ability that allows you to predict future movements literally, an analytical prediction, which basically is taking things into account to predict the next movement. So now, Maki, what he's doing in the scans you sent is not looking directly into the future because it is stated she's looking at aspects of the environment to predict the next movement. That is how in the scan I sent that was the one you missed, is she able to dodge because she is looking at the air, she's smelling the light as you can as in Jujutsu Kaisen they explain it, and that way she's able to see coming the next attack. She's not looking directly into the future. She's
Where'd you get
analyzing.
this scan from?
Which one?
The most recent one.
Oh, that's the definition in versus Wild Wiki. However, it's basically the same for Carters and Prophecy if that is what you want to argue, as basically both of them are forms of recognition. Again, you have to actually prove that what Maki is doing is precognition, because by definition, precognition is what basically looking into the future. But what Maki is doing is not actually looking into the future. In the scan, she's saying that she's looking at certain aspects of the environment. So I want you to prove actually that if you
Based on your
want to
own scan, she is using a form of precognition.
yes, she's using a form of precognition, which is analytical prediction.
So you admit she has precognition?
It's a form of precognition, yes, but I want that Garou also have and a more advanced one.
How can you prove his is
Actually,
more advanced?
I don't know why exactly why are you saying that Garou doesn't have one, because it's actually proven by the scans. Okay, so are you reading actually your the scans you're sending? Because what Maki is doing is actually looking at the environment and then she's predicting the next movement. Do you know the definition of prediction and anticipation, right? Do you know the
Yes, I know the
difference?
definition.
Okay, why is the definition? What's the difference?
What?
What's the difference? This is important because I see that you're not actually taking into account the definitions. Can you
Okay,
tell us,
start
please?
again. The difference between what?
Prediction and anticipation. Those two things. I
Those
want you
are the
to
same thing. Those are synonyms.
no, because they are
Yes,
synonym.
they are.
Synonym just means similarities into definition, not that they are the same. You don't know the definition of both, right?
What did you say, Oblivion?
Basically, Raza doesn't know the definition of anticipation nor the definition of prediction, as he's saying
I
that
know the
they.
definition of both of those
Okay,
things.
okay, then tell me why the definition and what's the difference, because you're saying they are the same thing. They are not.
In essence, they are the same thing. I will get the
No.
dictionary definition to prove it.
Okay.
Here's both definitions. If they'll send, fuck it. I'll just read them out. Yeah. Anticipation. The act of anticipating something, expectation, or prediction. Prediction. A thing predicted, a forecast. One is literally using the other to define itself.
You know why is that? Okay, let me tell you something. The main reason why they use prediction in the definition of anticipation is because an anticipation is a prediction with more high level of certainty. Now, because you are not going to get this right the first time, you're probably understanding that they are both the same thing. The main difference between these two concepts are the level of certainty. A prediction is more a guess, whereas an anticipation is something certain.
What
An
are you
anticipate
basing that on?
simple the definitions. Again, the way
No,
they are
you're
used
not.
in context. Basic. Okay, the definition says they are basic. Okay, let's read their definitions. Actually, how do you know I'm not? Can you say why I'm not basing my answer in the definitions?
Because you're
Well,
not.
why
They
not?
are, in essence, the same thing.
Yes, in essence, yes, but the difference is the level of certainty. Basically, they
Yeah,
are
and where
using
are
the
you
same.
getting that from?
Yeah, again, the definition itself say it.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, first off, you for some reason you read also the definition for I. Okay, first anticipation, the action of anticipating something. Your here also are missing the point of anticipation. Expectation or prediction. You know what expectations mean, right?
Yes, I know what an expectation is.
Why is
Do you want me to explain expectation to you?
yeah, sure, because you're saying that basically anticipation and you're basically
When you
missing the point.
expect something to happen, that is your
Yeah,
expectation.
yeah, expectation. What that expect mean? You're basically not explaining the concept. You're saying expectation is like of expect something. Okay, what expect in this context?
That's a different question.
Okay, then answer it because it's important to this concept.
Regard as likely to happen. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Right, that was the definition of expect.
Okay, and forecast is basically an estimation. For example, it's predict or estimate is basically that. Now,
What?
forecast. I'm reading to you the definition of forecast. Forecast is
Why?
basically okay. Here am I going to say you. Simple. Forecast is predict or estimate an event of the future. Now, via the definition you're sending of prediction, a thing predicted or forecasted. So is so, but the definitions they are not the same because well, in anticipation you're expecting something more with more certainty via the definition of expectation. Prediction, which is using forecasting in their definition, is basically more an estimate of the future. You know why expectation and estimate are keywords here, not right? You're understanding, right? An estimate
They
is
mean
basically
the same things. You're
they
pulling at straws.
nope. Again,
Yes, you
you're
are.
just no. You're not even understanding the point. You're trying to go sideways. I'm trying to make you understand it here. Prediction is basically a less certain guess, for example, whereas
And what
anticipation
basis do you have for that? That is not certain.
is certain, of course. Are you even looking at the examples? For example, it's like you have an example right below that the each definition, and you're not even using it.
Yes,
How
I'm reading them, but they're not relevant.
they are relevant because what I'm trying to say here is that Maki is not actually seeing into the future. What she's doing is looking at the aspects of the environment. And again, Garou can do the same. However, you do not count the same for Garou, but you are counting it for Maki, and you are not even reading the
Because
scan,
you have
right? And I'm proving it. I basically send you two scans where Maki, well, actually, you send one scan of that. Maki is looking at their environment and she's making the prediction based of that. She's not looking into the future. In fact, you miss another scan here where she's remembered Toji, and she's saying that she is looking at something that most people cannot, and that's why she's able to do that prediction. She's not looking into the future. She's looking at the environment and making the prediction based of that.
I know what she's doing, but Garou isn't looking into the future either.
Yeah, I tried to say that. I don't, Raza,
Then
you're not
why are you
listening
on
to
this tangent?
simple because both of them can basically counter each other. However, Garou's one is more faster and more useful in combat.
That's what I'm trying to get you to prove. Prove it's faster or more useful.
Yeah, I already proved it.
No, you didn't.
I already did. I've sent you scans of Garou's ability.
Yeah, the exact same shit Maki does.
Yeah. The problem here is that you're saying that my argument is not valid because King's bluff. So I want you to say me why exactly does King bluffing, or basically King not being able to
I
basically
said the
fight
King
this.
one isn't valid because King would not do any of those actions Garou's predicting.
Yeah.
But the
Okay.
other
Now.
ones are valid.
Okay. Here, basically, you're reading basically Tam Talks scan. What does he say? Also, something that you are not counting, you're not taking into account is that the reason why Garou make that prediction is because, well, beta prediction, analytical prediction, however you want to call it, is because he has information of King knowing how to fight. meaning that if he were to encounter Maki, after just a glance of her and her weapon, he will be able to tell what kind of attack she will do next because of her stand, because she actually fights. In the case of King, it's more of it's more as you say, it's more of a thing that he was interrupted by Setama because he has information of King that King you fight in certain ways, and that's why he predicted. However, it failed not because of King, but because of Saitama. That was a gag scene, basically.
You do realize you literally just said that that means he's just guessing as to what they'll do from previous information. He's not actually looking at what they're currently doing.
Yeah, so does Maki. The problem here is that Garou do it at a more
No, no,
faster
no.
way. Yeah, the
Maki
problem.
does it
Okay,
by reacting to what they are doing, while Garou is thinking of what they might be doing. There's a
uh,
difference.
no, the difference here is that Garou, although he has previous information, he's looking at the stance of the person to predict the next movement. Meaning he's using information and he's combining said information. There's a
Yes, and
difference.
he's predicting very wrong.
No, he was not wrong. I want to ask you something. If you basically, well, I know I'm not making it because you usually rant with this, but basically, there is also this kind of tank talk master, which he's saying that Garou can block, dodge, and parry each movement just because by seeing his stand, and this is proven. I also send you this kind of thought. It's like with he dodges said attack by just reacting to it, and there is also a golden ball scan where he basically dodge also dodgeball.
Yeah, that's just reacting and dodging.
Yeah, based off his analytical prediction. Your point. He's basically doing all of that because of his analytical prediction. In both of those instances, he's fighting against them. He look at their stance. He look at the weapon they were using, and that's why he predicted. He's using the information he has against them. In the moment, actually, because he never fought or had information of Todd or Golden Ball. And if you want to argue that he had information on Golden Ball, that is not true because the only thing he knew in being between for saying in a way was the location where he was, nothing more.
Okay, that's fine, but these predictions are relying on previous knowledge which he would not have of Maki.
Again, that will be wrong because of the second part of my point. He never encountered Toad. He never encountered Golden Ball, and in both instances, he was able to analyze their stance just by their stance and by their weapon they were using. In the case of Golden Ball, it was well, his some sort of weapon, and the case of Toad, it was his sword. He actually did this the same, did something similar against a sword user, which was well, Royal Reaper. You count him as a sword user. So basically, Garou is using information in the spot of people he never actually analyzed in the past, just like Maki. And again, the difference with Maki is that Maki is only using information of the environment which Garou can change.
Okay, one, you have yet to prove that he can, and two, that's not all she's doing.
Okay, what else she's doing? Because by the look of the scans and the dialogue she's saying, because you actually missed some scans, I can't send all the scans if you want. She's basically just seeing at the environment, and based off
No,
of
you're not
that,
getting it.
she's making the next is basing the next movement.
She can do that with all five of her senses. She points out that she is literally feeling the air, not looking at it.
Yeah, the point here is that's the same. Tell me, what do you think it will take more time? Looking at each variant, or just simply by seeing something, which is basically the fastest sense.
What are you even
Basically,
trying to say?
well, basically, while Garou can just see a person and by their stance predict their next movement, he will be able to react faster to Maki than will Maki take into account. Because something that you're not even taking into account is that the reason why Maki actually predicted it was because there was a punch going through here, and she was able to know that because of how the punch was acting with the air. And this is something in the scan because we can see that she dodged mid-air the punch that it was going, uh, well, to here.
You're also ignoring the fact that Maki was dodging someone who was significantly faster than her without effort.
Yeah, but why doesn't matter in this context? It's equal stacks.
Yeah, meaning her precog is better if it works on stronger people.
And Garou do the same. In this, actually, in the
When has
second
Garou
scan,
fought someone stronger than him?
he fought in a weekend save.
That doesn't matter if he was still stronger than his enemies.
Actually, he wasn't. He was
Can you
struggling.
prove that?
Yeah, because of the second scan, you can see that he's very wounded, and he was actually very low his level in that fight. Actually, I don't know why you say you prove that when you can actually see in the second scan that he's struggling because he's fighting multiple opponents and he's weakened.
What I'm trying to get you to prove is that he was weaker than those enemies, not weaker than his maximum strength. There's a
Exactly.
difference.
The point here is that those enemies were A-class heroes. A-class heroes are capable of matching demon level threats. Garou was at the moment a low demon threat, meaning
Yes,
that
prove it.
yeah, okay, okay, sure. Let me get a minute.
So are you gonna get the scan or not?
Yeah, I have them.
Then why haven't you sent them?
You should just retire,
Because
ugly
unlike
ass
you, I
nigga.
actually have things to do while I'm debating.
Hold on. Who the
So
fuck was that?
Okay, basically, Metalbat can one-shot Demo level threats, which is the standard for S-class heroes, and Garou was getting fought by him. Later on, a more weakened Garou was actually getting in struggling against 8 heroes. It was 8. Now, something that again I'm going to point out is I don't know why this matter because they both are in equal stats. They are not moving and they are not predicting. And something I want to ask you, actually, why exactly does actually having recognition and speed matters? Because yes, while it's impressive, why exactly is the point of having recognition if you can dodge attacks that are coming to you that are actually faster or surprising?
I
Wouldn't
want you to
that be
repeat that question because it did not make sense.
okay? Basically,
And say it
isn't
slowly and clearly.
okay. So basically, isn't the point of precognition being able to predict attacks that come to unsurprised or are faster for so you can actually react to them?
Yes.
And then why exactly is Maki's attack of being dodged to something faster, which is the point of precognition actually mattering here?
Because Garou's precognition is against relative or lower enemies, while Maki's is against a physically superior enemy,
Yeah, the
which
problem
would
here is
indicate
that
that she has a higher degree of precognitive abilities.
that is not how precognition works. Again, and his analytical prediction is working based off the data she has on the environment. Again, I'm proving to you that in multiple occasions. First off, let's go point by point because I want you to. We said to Dara that it was going to last only 30 minutes. So now, in the first scan that I sent, it's basically someone is explaining to her that she's basically that why is how is she going to do the attack or the precognition, and then in the scan you send, it says it's nothing special. Even the air that surrounds us has different temperatures and densities. These facets are scattered everywhere, and that facet just needs to be grasped. And then she does. Basically, she is taking time to actually make the prediction. And actually, I want you to prove something because I didn't ask, and now I realize how fast or how faster is this person in comparison to Maki.
Before Maki gained her precognitive abilities, Nalia was completely blitzing her.
Yeah, but I'm asking, yeah, but exactly how much is the difference? And I didn't ask that.
You want an exact number for their speed?
Not an exact number, but an estimate. As
Okay, hold on a
there
second.
is an as for blitzing, there is a specific multiplier.
Roughly 3 times.
Yeah, there are these scenarios that the rest of the debate. Although it makes sense, I'm kind of inexperienced in this kind of stuff. Okay, so hold on a minute. I'm going to send this kind of Garou being able to control the air.
By the way, can we agree on a 5-minute BOR?
Sure, why not? Although I have to make a counter for that.
What?
Okay, here it is. This Garou basically manipulating the air to create cuts or apply pressure in the air to basically manipulate and cut, which is basically a form of durability negation. Although he has more durability negations form. He can attack directly the organs of their opponents if you want to scan a scan of that.
Attacking organs wouldn't really help in this situation.
Why?
Because Maki's able to fight through grievous physical injuries, including internal ones.
The problem here is that wait, what? Can you prove that?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, sure, send scans.
Hit at Mach 3 by Nalia and has severe organ damage, yet she's up fighting him less than 3 minutes later. I can give scans for that one too.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Here they are. Do you have anything to say?
Just because I don't say something doesn't mean I don't have to, but well. Uh, Several problems here, actually. First off, well, base of that.
Dang.
Okay, so basically, uh, well, the injuries are not as what Garou can do. I can send scan. I'm going to send scan here. Wait a second.
You're saying the injuries aren't as bad as what Garou can do?
Yeah, basically Garou's ability is to basically she could either cut her in a board. Yeah, and as you can see, her cuts are more well,
Okay,
basically
stop. I
directly.
cannot hear you. Start over.
Okay, basically her cuts can hold on. Well, although the cuts she's receiving are well fairly dangerous to say in a way, Garou's cuts directly cut through the enemy. Second of all, her well, she can resist internal damage. However, Garou can basically pulverize, as you can see in the scan. He was confident that Saitama's resistance to that point was not going to resist, and he was not going to be a hero again. Take into account this Saitama has proven in up to this point to be multi-continental. So if you want to include stats, although I don't see the point to that, he can be confident into that. And third of all, she mentioned her regeneration. However, it's not as good as it looks like. However, it takes time for her. It took between 5 or 3 minutes, give her time. And well, however, the regeneration is not as fast as Garou. As you can see, Garou was able to, in the spot, be able to regen his arm.
Maki doesn't need to wait for her regeneration. She can fight as she's healing.
Yeah. However, how much pain can